Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have this beautiful Adele inspired look. I was looking at her old pictures and new pictures and her old music and new music, and I was just like, I love her. I love her style, I love her look, her music, her songwriting, her interpretation is like everything that I would have done as a singer if I would have pursued my singing career. So I wanted to do give it my own interpretation, and I can't say that it's exactly one look from her, but it's a general Adele inspired look. So here it is. Starting to prime my eyes with MAC Prolongwear Concealer in NC20, and of course I'm listening to Adele, so I'm a little distracted. I'm setting that with Inglot 351 eyeshadow, and I'm using MAC 239 brush. I'm pressing the color into the lid so it gives you the most amount of product because this brush is flat, and then I'm going to use this fluffy brush because I want less color in the rest of the lid. For my transition color, I'm going to use Bobbi Brown Toast Eyeshadow with the Sigma E40 brush, just going back and forth and in little circles, and repeat this step a couple of times until you have the intensity that you want. To start building that dimension in the crease, I'm using MAC Soft Brown Eyeshadow, and I'm using the Sephora Crease Shadow Brush number 73. So you're basically using the same motion, and this is just going to create a smooth transition in between colors. Now I'm going in with a cool tone shadow. This one is Bobbi Brown Flint, and I'm using Cozzette D120, and it's a much smaller brush, so you're going to have a lot more precision. Notice that I'm keeping it in the crease, just going back and forth and not connecting it to the lash line in the outer corner how I usually do it. Remember to start with a little bit, take a step back, and always blend in between. It's like life. Once you've said too much or you've said the wrong thing, you can't take it back or it's hard to fix. But if you're careful with your words, you can always add more. And now back to makeup. Small brush gives you a very precise application, so with the big fluffy brush, without adding any product on, you blend everything out. Now for the lid color, I'm going in with MAC Blank Type. I was going to use the one from Inglot, but it was a little too white. This one is a little bit more off-white. And in case you haven't noticed, all these shadows are matte, because we're going for that Adele, that 1960s look. So I'm just pressing that color into the mobile lid all the way to the crease, but not going above the crease. And I'm also going to run that through my brow bone as a highlight. And then I'm going to go back with the same Sephora brush and the smallest amount of soft brown just to emphasize the warmth there. For eyeliner, I'm using Maybelline Studio Gel Eyeliner, and it's the easiest for me to do this kind of wing cat eye look. It's easy to blend and easy to fix. I start in the middle of my eye and then work my way in and then work my way back out. I don't know if that makes sense, but you can see it there. So I'm using that brush from Michaels that I've had for a million years, and then I'm going back with the 266 brush by MAC. You may ask, why do you go back with that one and not start with that one from the beginning? But I can't. It doesn't give me the application that I like. I don't know why. For the wing, I go out first and then work myself back in. And then remember, always a little bit at a time. You can always add more, but once you've gone too far, once you've gone panda, it's hard to come back. And don't pull your skin too hard, remember age and all that good stuff. Now I'm going to take a little bit of that gel liner and just get in between my lashes in my upper waterline. This is going to make the liner look 100 times better, and it's going to make your lashes look amazing. So for wing liners, the one thing that you always need is a dry Q-tip. I mean, the dry Q-tip is like an eraser. It fixes everything. And for me, it gives you that perfect edge. To prime my face, I'm going to use the Makeup Forever Smoothing Primer all over my face because it's going to mattify and hide my pores. For foundation, I'm using a different one. This is Chanel Perfection Lumiere. I'm using number 20 and number 30 because, again, I'm in between colors. This foundation is a little bit thinner, so I like to apply it with a brush. And this is the Sigma F80. Still love my Maybelline foundation, but we finally have winter in New York City, so everything is dehydrated. The air is way too dry for a very thick foundation. And even though I love this brush for foundation, I always go back with a sponge to make sure there's no excess. For concealer, I'm using Naked Skin by Urban Decay and the MAC Prolongwear concealer while I make that beautiful face. Oh wow, gorgeous, I tell ya. Anyways, I'm going in first with the Urban Decay concealer and then MAC Prolongwear, a little bit in my chin and then in my forehead, whatever is left, and smoothing everything out with the Real Technique sponge, which is damped, by the way. And this is my favorite way of applying concealer. I haven't found another way that works best for me. To set everything, as always, Laura Mercier translucent powder and pressing that color in, and I'm using the same brush, Cozzette S120. Whatever is left in the brush, I take it everywhere in the rest of my face to make sure that the bronzers and highlighters and everything else we put blends better. For mascara, my current favorite, the Butterfly by L'Oreal. I love this mascara. And to give the skin a little dimension, I'm using Anastasia Contour Palette, and I'm using that middle color right there. Now, one of the most iconic things about Adele's look is that perfectly defined contour line. So I grabbed this brush by NARS. I can't remember the name right now, but it's a flat brush, so it's going to give you that definition without spreading the color too much. And instead of going in an angle how I usually go, I'm going a little bit more on a straight line and then blending it up to give it that angle that I like from my face shape. Remember to take it to the hairline, because if you have a big forehead like I do, we need a girl. For blush, I'm using NARS Gina, and I'm using 168 brush by MAC, and this is a perfect soft peachy color. Now, I was looking at some of Adele's pictures and it doesn't really look like she has that much of a harsh highlight, but I've been playing with this palette lately and this highlight is really pretty, so a little bit of me in there doesn't hurt anybody. So it goes on top of your cheekbones, on your cupid's bow, and if your pores don't bother you, down your nose. To give the eyes the perfect frame, I'm going to use the soft brown eyeshadow and the MAC 219 brush. Then I'm going to go in with an Inglot 107 eyeshadow, that darker color, with an angle brush, just really close to the lashes. Taking it all the way in. And then I'm going to use a Q-tip to get rid of any transfer from the eyeliner above, because we're going to do something else after. But first, I'm going to take a tiny bit of black eyeshadow and just concentrating right there in the outer corner. I'm blending it with that Smudge brush from Sephora. From Sephora as well, I'm using their Kohl Pencil number 7, and it goes in my waterline to open up my eyes and give it that perfect 60s Adele look. Now that liner right there needs to be fixed, but I'm in a bit of a hurry because I have to go to work after this, so mascara in the bottom lashes and ready to go. I already put some lashes on, and these are Ardell 120s. And my lipstick is just going to be Subculture Lip Liner by MAC with a little bit of a gloss on top, which is Sweet Beige by Chanel. Now looking back, these lashes are a little bit too natural for this look. I would have liked something a little bit bigger, but I was going to work after this, so I had a little bit of restrictions. Nevertheless, it's a beautiful look, so you're done. So this is it, guys. This is a beautiful look that will look good on anybody and everybody. The liner is a little bit of a challenge, but you can do it. You can practice. I love this look. I think it's beautiful. It will look really pretty if I knew what to do with my hair, but all right, well, good. It's blow dried, so that's good enough. So don't forget to like and subscribe and follow me on social media, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.